Welcome everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our regular July Board of Trustees meeting. In the absence of the secretary, I guess I can take the roll. Oh, you don't have your list either. Thank you. Trustee Bird Martinez is on their way but currently absent. Trustee Yamamoto is absent. Trustee Fairfax.
Here.
Trustee Putman.
Here.
Trustee Rogers.
Here.
Trustee Wilkinson.
Here.
And President Bloom is here already. Ellsworth, you said you had not received any public comment?
I have not received any.
I have not received any public comment. Do we have anyone here who would like to make public comment? Alrighty. We will move on to approval of the consent agenda items. This includes our minutes, routine personnel reports, partner reports, finance reports, the directors and strategic priorities reports, library core use statistics, as well as the position classification and pay policy review, and the 2026 non-resident library card and annual fee. I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved and seconded?
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Wonderful. All the items in the consent agenda are approved, and we will move on to unfinished business, which I believe we have a presentation this evening.
We're early.
Hello, everybody. My name is Magna Heppel, and I am an architect and designer with Wolpert, and I have been working on the strategic facilities plan with the library, along with Amy Schmeeding, who is the project manager with Wolpert on this project. She was not able to be here today, but you will definitely see her moving forward. So tonight, we wanted to share with you what we've learned so far through the outreach and engagement phase of the strategic facilities plan. Over the last several months, we've had the opportunity to meet with staff, library leadership, community members, to better understand how the library is being used today and what people would like to see in the future. And the goal tonight is to walk through the engagement process, to highlight some of the key themes that emerged, and also to talk about how that feedback will help us moving forward into the next phases. So before diving into outreach results, it might be helpful to briefly frame what we're doing. A strategic facilities plan is really about aligning facilities with services, operations, and community needs. It's a long-term roadmap. And it helps guide how the library's physical space will evolve over time to support the library's mission, the collections, technology, services, staff, and community needs. It's not a building design just yet. It's also not a construction project. It's really a planning tool that helps us make thoughtful decisions for the future. And you'll see that that process is broken down into 5 different phases. Visioning is the first step, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. Then after visioning, we have programming, where we take the information from the visioning phase and figure out what types of spaces and how big those spaces need to be. And then we move into concept planning, where we figure out what the library could look like and can function. After that, we move into the cost estimate phase, which is where we work with a third-party estimator to figure out what that renovation could look like for the library. And then we move into the final report, where we bring all the information that we learned from visioning, from programming, from the concept planning, and the cost estimate together into one document. So visioning is the first phase, and that's the work we're going to talk about tonight. This is where we engage the staff, the board members and stakeholders, and the community members to understand what people value, what challenges exist today, and what they hope to see in the future. The goal is to create a shared understanding of what the library can become and how it can best serve the community moving forward. So the first part of visioning was survey outreach. We collected input from 3 primary groups, the board members, staff, and also the community. The community survey alone generated more than 1,600 responses, which is an exceptional level and demonstrates just how much the community cares about the library. The survey results really helped us understand both current challenges and future priorities. So starting with board and staff surveys. Board members focused heavily on flexibility and community use. Top priorities included expanding meeting and study spaces, creating dedicated youth and teen environments, improving staff spaces, enhancing comfort and seating, and upgrading key amenities. The overarching message was that the library is highly valued, but its spaces need to work harder. They need to work harder to support how people gather, collaborate, and connect. Staff responses were not so different. Staff were not asking for a dramatically larger building. Instead, they focused on making the existing building function better. Their priorities included improved staff support spaces, more small meeting rooms, better access to power and charging, inclusive and inviting environments, and safer, more functional service points. Then through the community survey, we asked the community what should be prioritized in the future, and the results were very clear. The number 1 priority was creating an inviting atmosphere. Residents want the library to feel welcoming, to feel comfortable, and to be accessible to everybody. Quiet reading and study spaces ranked very highly as well, and that reinforced that the library's traditional role remains extremely important to the community. At the same time, people also emphasized browsing collections, comfortable seating, children's spaces, convenient services, and flexible learning environments. This tells us that the community is not asking the library to abandon its core strengths. Instead, they want those strengths enhanced while creating more flexible spaces that support contemporary library use. We also asked what isn't working today, and the biggest challenge identified by far was parking and site access. That was followed pretty closely behind by noise concerns, limitations in meeting and gathering spaces, wayfinding, technology access, and accessibility barriers. What made these findings particularly useful is that they align directly with the future priorities that we just discussed. People want more quiet spaces because noise is perceived as a challenge. And they want more meeting rooms because demand exceeds capacity. They want easier navigation because finding spaces and collections can be difficult. This slide captures something particularly valuable. And these are the themes that emerged when we analyzed over 1,100 written comments. So besides just answering the questions that we put out, we asked community members to provide other responses, other things that they wanted to add. So from these results, we found that technology, digital equity, and remote work were the most frequently mentioned topics. Community members consistently spoke about the need for reliable technology, digital literacy, flexible workspaces, and support for changing technology needs. At the same time, books, collections, literacy services, community gathering, children's programs, sustainability, maker spaces, safety, quiet spaces, and meeting rooms all appeared very, very frequently. Oh, sorry, went too fast. So taken together, these comments describe a library that preserves its traditional strengths while it's expanding its role as a flexible, technology-rich, and community-centered destination. So next in the visioning process were the focus group surveys. The library conducted targeted focus group surveys with specific user groups. These included middle and high school students, older adults, storytime and caregiver participants, supported families, and participants in the English language conversation program. The goal was to better understand how those different populations use the library and where their needs might overlap or where those needs might differ. And across all 5 groups, we saw a consistent pattern. So students wanted dedicated teen spaces, they wanted social areas, they wanted quiet study environments, and also places to charge their devices. Older adults were focused more on comfort. They emphasized natural light, accessibility, community gathering spaces, and lifelong learning opportunities. Caregivers focused on interactive children's environments, age-specific spaces, family-friendly amenities, and access to collections. Supported families consistently emphasized inclusive design, sensory-friendly spaces, accessibility, and quiet areas and flexibility. And English language learners highlighted meeting spaces, conversation areas, accessibility, and environments that support learning and community connection. So those needs varied slightly between the groups, but the larger themes remained the same. Welcoming spaces, accessibility, flexibility, learning, and community connection. We also spent a significant amount of time meeting directly with library departments. We met with every department for at least an hour where we had discussions about their goals and visions for the future of the library. And those conversations gave us a much deeper understanding of the day-to-day operations and how staff experience the building. Staff helped identify both the public-facing opportunities and also behind-the-scenes operational challenges that may not be apparent through those survey results. And the department meetings may have produced the strongest consensus of any of the engagement efforts. Across departments, staff consistently described a vision for a library that is more flexible, more accessible, and more intentional in-house spaces used. And there were 10 major themes that emerged out of those discussions. The first one, by far, was across the board. Every department would like to reimagine the lobby as an active community hub. Also followed closely behind expanding study in remote workspaces, strengthening children's, tween, and teen environments, investing in staff support spaces, improving accessibility, enhancing collections visibility, expanding technology services, improving service desks, upgrading building systems, and also activating outdoor spaces. So and a particularly important takeaway from our discussions was that the staff were not asking for a bigger library. They're really asking for a better performing building. We also asked staff to react to emerging library trends. So during those meetings, we brought in 4 different boards with library trends that we've been seeing in other libraries. We had a board for adult services, for children's services, middle and high school services, and community spaces. And we asked staff to put stickers on those trends that they thought were the most important to them, or to the library moving forward. So for adult services, we found that quiet reading spaces and technology access, as well as social environments, rose to the top. For children's services, sensory-friendly spaces and dedicated play areas were a priority. For teen spaces, flexible spaces and gaming opportunities ranked very high. And for community spaces, study pods, work nooks, and collaborative meeting areas were strongly supported. We also asked the staff to write down library trends or things that they want to see in the library that may have not been covered on our boards. And in their open-ended comments, staff repeatedly called for more power access, more study rooms, better sightlines at service desks, improved staff meeting rooms, and a more effective first floor lobby. And then we also did a community engagement exercise where we came out for the day during a day in our village, and we repeated a similar exercise with the community. So we brought in the same 4 boards with the library trends for the adult services, children's services, teen and community spaces. We also brought out a board that described the strategic facilities plan process, and we had the chance to talk to community members to discuss the process and also get their thoughts on library trends. And we asked them we had the same request to put a sticker on the trends that they thought were important to the library moving forward. And those results closely mirrored the staff responses. Quiet reading spaces, technology access, sensory-friendly children's environments, dedicated play spaces, teen collections, flexible community spaces, and individual study all ranked highly. And again, we saw a strong preference for spaces that support both quiet work and community interaction. When we compared staff responses and community responses, the alignment was remarkably strong. Both groups prioritized quiet reading spaces, sensory-friendly children's environments, flexible teen spaces, study areas, creative opportunities, and community gathering spaces. In many planning projects, there can be a disconnect between staff and community, but that was not so here. You're very much aligned.
Good.
And that consistency of the findings, it will really give us a strong foundation for moving forward into the next stages. So the major takeaway from all this engagement, the community is not asking for a larger building. They're asking for a library that is accessible, that is more comfortable, more flexible, more technology ready, and better aligned with how people use libraries today. Staff tend to think in terms of flexibility and operational functionality, while community members tend to focus on specific experiences and amenities. But ultimately, they have the same goals in mind. Both groups envision a library that remains a welcoming place for books, for learning, for quiet study, while also supporting creativity, collaboration, technology, and community connection. So where do we go from here? Now that outreach is complete, We're gonna begin translating what we've learned into those facility recommendations. We have already started moving forward into the programming phase, and we're going to dive deep into the concept planning next. And then we'll follow shortly after into cost estimate and the final report. And that's all I have. I'm happy to go back to any slides or go over any questions anybody might have.
When snack areas, like what does that mean exactly?
So that was one of the library trends that came out on top for the community members. They put a lot of stickers on the images where we had a dedicated snack area shown. So not a place where you go to buy snacks, but a place where they can eat their snacks.
I see.
Yeah.
And as a reminder, right now, the whole library is essentially a snack area. There are very few areas where it's restricted. If I remember right, that board had sort of a cafe feeling, like small tables and high
It
chairs.
did, yeah. It had kind of like a cafe.
You don't have the boards here by any chance, do you?
I don't, but I have images of them on my laptop. Yeah, on my laptop. I
In
could
the
pull them up.
presentation, if you zoom in,
Let me see if I can zoom in here.
kind of blurry.
Yeah, they are. I have them. Is that it? How do I zoom? Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to zoom.
We can share them out later.
Okay.
I'm sure they're beautiful.
Yeah, it's like in this one right here on the right corner. It's super small, but it's like a high top table with some stools and then some tables, like some shorter tables, regular height tables and seating next to those. So it's really kind of like a older Starbucks setting without the actual barista there.
So if they were responding to that, then they may not have been responding to like the idea of eating the things that they brought. They might have just seen it and thought, oh, yeah, I've got a place to like get food.
That's a good point. They may
Just because
Yeah.
visual is such a
Yeah.
strong language.
Mhm.
So just to make sure that I understand, when you're asking questions to the community, it's not specifically like, what do you feel is lacking, or if this was strictly around what their priorities are, whether they already exist, or they want them to exist, or they want them to be more robust. The question was about what is important.
Right, what is
Okay.
important to them.
There was a section though about like lacking areas, right?
Right, those were,
I
yes,
remember reading that.
and that was part of the survey.
Did any specific ideas emerge about how to use the lobby space differently?
From the staff, yes. More of like Barnes and Noble style, where, you know, there's books on display and there's some seating and there's, I guess, not really like a place where you buy books, right? But that kind of feel to it.
Marketplace.
Marketplace, yes, thank you.
Is a part of the study going to be asking people, because everything that was asked for, it doesn't feel like it can fit in the building? Are there like questions that are like, well, if you had 100 pennies, like, and you had to put them somewhere, like, are there going to be a rationalization question or anything like that? For
I
the
don't
community?
think we have that in mind. We are not planning on that. But our plan is to take these results and figure out what are the top priorities. And from there, we can prioritize from that information.
I was in the ALA session that was something around facility plans, and I wanted to ask, because I was trying to just look, and I know this has been shared, but is this facilities plan just for this building, or are we thinking about all buildings?
This is just for the main
Just for the
library.
main.
And so Dole is a completely different thing because
Yeah.
it's a rental space.
I think there are things like I'm learning that like, I wonder how the library staff like are thinking about that, like, could we do something with those? I don't know, that came up in that ALA session, that was just like, usually when you do a facilities plan, you're looking very holistically, so, I don't know, that came up for me as a thought.
At Dole, you all did do a little bit of a
Yes.
overhaul, but
Totally.
it's really
That's
nice.
true, yeah, I guess I'm blown away by all the data, I mean, you all have so much information, that I think now I'm kind of wondering like what in this Q&A, like what's within our purview for this Q&A? Like, what do you want us to ask? Because I mean, I have feelings and I have thoughts, but I don't know that this is the place to share either, so
Okay. Yeah,
I'm trying to keep my feelings in my pocket.
I'm trying to
yeah.
understand a little bit better, like what we're decked with right now in this Q&A.
Well, we're not asking for anything specific, just to help you understand what we have found so far. If things are unclear or if you have any concerns that you want to ask us about.
I think one thing I'm thinking about is just, we service a lot of unhoused folks. I don't think they're doing surveys. And I wonder how we balance community need with like what survey doers and focus group doers say. Like that's something that's on my mind.
That was one of the thoughts I had along because admittedly I was a little bit surprised to see how many folks wanted more dedicated quiet space.
Me too.
I was ready for more meeting space or more like separate space.
Yeah.
But for it to be specifically called out as quiet, I was You're like, I was I was a little bit surprised by that, and then to see that there is simultaneously a call for more quiet space, but also more community and shared space. I understand that they're not competing priorities necessarily, but it
A lot of conflicting.
it made me ask a lot of questions
I mean,
about like, what do we?
you understand space better, so you
Yeah.
can explain that better, but doesn't, I mean, you could have a community space and you have quiet space, and then there's open
Right.
space.
Right, but no, to Christina's point, like, are we taking into account folks who are obviously not, not obviously, but are probably not going to take this survey where they are going to trend more towards meeting community space and maybe are not looking for, or maybe are looking for quiet space. I don't know.
So I was interested in what your take was that.
So, I mean, it's our job now to, take all that information and figure out how to make this all work.
Right.
How to get those quiet spaces in with the community spaces. And make sure that the noise levels don't, interfere between the two. Yeah, that's the next step. That's our challenge.
My read on the quiet is that it's like the pendulum swinging back. Is that libraries used to be shh, nothing but quiet space. And there was this kind of opening up and relaxing and having where people can interact and the beautiful job the staff has done with like different quiet levels and noise levels. But it does feel like culturally we're needing more quiet spaces because there aren't as many quiet public spaces. That was
The next evolution of the third space is not just gathering, but also having a place for solace, I guess,
right. Like it's
The
just
diversity of spaces. It's reminding me of the discussion we had like the first or second board meeting where we discussed the pods and that. And then, we never followed up on that. We were planning on having a facilities plan. But we did have an earlier discussion about this, like pods, meeting pods.
the flexibility of it's a not quiet space and then later it becomes a what, yeah, I remember that conversation, but yeah, I was surprised to see both of those things almost emerge as simultaneous priorities and from everyone, so.
And I think your question about sort of who took the survey is important, and as I'm sure you all saw, it asked for limited information about who was filling it out. I will say that a number of staff commented about the diversity of respondents, mostly around the paper surveys, because people would take it and fill it out in the lobby.
Yeah.
That's anecdotal. That doesn't give us any real numbers,
for
but
sure.
I do think that the number of people who walked in, saw it, and did it probably diversified our respondent pool as compared to if it was just online.
Totally, and the numbers are amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
1,600 is like out of this world.
Yeah.
I guess I'm stuck with like the board member question of just like, we're never gonna have perfect data and now we have to make decisions. And like, I do really wanna prioritize, like, I think this is captured in upgraded amenities, but like, I know I would love to see better bathrooms and like, I'm just one person, but that is for the unhoused community like that I'm thinking about. And so it is just that constant tension of like, okay, now we have data, and it's really good data, it's never complete. What do we do? I don't know. That's our job.
You know, that's your job, you tell us, that's your job, you tell us.
That's right, that's our job,
And
and
I
that's what we're coming back with.
I loved hearing like the staff things because they're so exact. They're just like, we need power outlets, we need
Yes,
lighting, like it's
yes,
like such
yeah.
like good feedback.
Concrete, specific.
So yeah, I don't know, I was kind of overwhelmed with the data, it's so much
Yeah.
good data.
I
but-
was too.
Yeah, that's a question, and I mean, from doing this, was this a relatively high?
I think so, I mean, there was a lot of information to go through. Yeah,
Good,
That's
that's
good.
good, that's.
That's very good.
yes.
So I'm wondering, you said that the staff and the community were more aligned than you often see.
Mhm.
Was that from the sticky note or from the whole?
I think in general,
Okay. And then how did the board compare with those? Since we didn't do the sticky note, how did the board, because all we did was the survey. How would you see that? And
I feel like
with-
the board aligned a lot too. I mean, the comfort, the inviting atmosphere, expanding meeting and study and event spaces. I think those kind of main topics were aligned across everybody, especially that, like the atmosphere and the comfort. I was really surprised about that because it seems like a very inviting library, but people want to come here and just like chill here for like 4 hours, I think.
Which was my read on why that was something that was so
Yeah.
consistently high, is
Yeah.
because it is such an inviting
Mm-hmm.
library. And
It
it is
is.
such a like centerpiece of our town,
Mhm.
and all of that, like, I think that's why everybody's
Yeah.
prioritizing it.
Will this be combined with like when people were like, oh, we need more meeting space, which I think I actually wrote too.
Mm-hmm.
That will be like combined with the fact like, does the data show that, right? Like when I look at meeting spaces, they seem like they're available. So like, will that be combined with this? Like,
It seems like they are available.
Yeah.
Have you tried to get a study room?
Yeah.
You must have a different.
You must know somebody. You know somebody? Yeah,
Seriously?
Yeah, exactly, that's my boy.
Clearly, we don't have consensus.
Yeah, I guess my question was like, is there, will it be combined with like empirical data and we get the stats already, I guess, so we know how many people use the meeting room each month.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I answered my question.
Yeah, we can do that. Mm-hmm.
There was a little piece in there about better use of outdoor space. I think it was kind of aligned with revamping the lobby.
Mm-hmm.
Were there,
There was discussion of the roof.
Yeah,
I
there
never
was.
seen
Yeah, I saw
the
the
roof
roof.
till I saw the picture that you have.
That came from staff, mainly.
That's kind of cool.
were there specific ideas? The only reason I ask is like, we end where Scoville Park begins. So of the outdoor space, what are we really talking about trying to utilize? Is it just sort of the porch area, or like, did they have other ideas
It
that?
was mainly, I think it was comments about being able to go outside and have programming outside. So directly within, near the, not out in the park, but like with the,
close to the library,
I
so.
would, like, if you have a
Close.
chance to visit Aurora Public Library, like, they have a beautiful children's garden that has a separate, like, entrance, and like, it's indoor, outdoor, it's so, I love it. So, you know, there are examples out there.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, you know, like how we have now, that we have those extensions of our living room out into the, you know, into our backyard, right? It's that kind of feeling where they want that outdoor connection.
Where the only accessibility isn't back out through the
Right.
vestibule and.
Yes, exactly.
And also, like, the Forest Preserves of Cook County has a lot of outdoor classrooms that have been instituted since the pandemic.
Mhm.
So there's a lot more kind of interest in,
A lot more examples of.
and just interest in having
Yeah.
outdoor classroom spaces, because who knows when the next.
Right, I think since
You know.
COVID, there's been, and, you know, it's been increasing since then, that need for outdoor space, because you never know. Mhm.
And, the idea box is, you know, is paused. So did specific ideas come up from staff about how to shift that, integrate it?
I remember there was a comment about the idea box, but it really did not come up very much at all by community, by staff. It wasn't really talked about.
But the art gallery was, right?
The art gallery was. The art gallery is very important.
And how did that come up?
That came up in discussions with staff, and also it was on our library trends boards, and it was pretty high up on everybody's priority to have the art gallery.
Going back a step, I'm thinking, to the average community member, if I say the idea box, they would look at me like, what are you talking about? So I wonder if people just don't know it's called that, like it's not a thing for them, and so they're talking about the law. Staff, that would be a different, of course,
Mhm.
like community.
I think they probably think of it as lobby
The lobby,
adjacent.
so they're
I don't know.
talking about the
I
lobby.
think Idea Box is pretty consistent branding. I mean, it says it across the
It's,
front
the
of it.
letters.
Because unlike many things in the library, that space has been the Idea Box since its inception.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that there are some people, well, the cafe.
Since it wasn't,
cafe.
after it was Buzz Cafe, then it was the idea box.
So after the library took the retail out and put library in, then we put the Idea Box. I'm sure that not everybody calls it that, but I don't know that there's like a vernacular term that means it more than that. I guess we don't know, but I would be surprised if people were saying lobby and they meant the Idea Box, but I could be wrong.
I mean, I was thinking more that they just include it in like this part of the lobby. Anyway, I was thinking that the absence of mention of the idea box was significant, and then I was thinking, well, maybe, people are sort of like not thinking about it as an idea, because there was no question, right, that like asked about it.
There was no specific question, right?
Was there a question about, like, because you mentioned, like, nobody was asking for a new building or new floor, and like, of course, like, I guess I'm wondering, like, there was no question about that, right? So that just would have come up in a comment if you,
Yes.
because I think people don't dream very well either, so I guess I'm just like, there's limits to imagination.
With staff, you had sort of a breakdown of like what square footage would be needed to fulfill different results. I don't know how you did that, but I remember seeing it and thinking it was really interesting. So I think that the same thing is applied to sort of what the community is asking. So if people are saying we want more meeting room space, Wolford is able to say that's what this means and kind of fit it into a footprint.
If at some point in the future, there were another floor, I know that was something that was considered with the first building. What would that look like? Because I've thought of that quite a lot when I drive by, and it's so beautiful. And, driving by the building, and I can't envision how there could be another floor.
There is potential to build another floor. The building is designed to be able for another floor to be able to be added to it. It would be very costly to do so. And how would it look? I'm not really sure. I feel like we can make it blend in with the building so that it, it looks natural, a natural extension of the building.
It's just that kind of mountain-like
Yeah,
silhouette.
I wouldn't want to lose that. That's really special to the library.
Is what every time I look at it, I'm like, how would that be? I mean, not that we can find the budget right now anyway.
We would figure out a way to make
Christina's
it.
point
Yeah, I
of dreaming
would
big
like to
and
dream.
Yeah.
all of that,
Or at least like recognizing that like people probably aren't suggesting it because they're not thinking that's like a realistic thing, right? And it's not, but that doesn't mean it's not like a
Dream
dream.
big and then scale back, like.
they're dreaming
but-
big about parking.
Everyone's gonna always ask for parking. When I saw that, my eyes rolled all the way back, but
And thinking back to when the building was designed, I did work with Eric Penny and Don McKay for many years. They were the designers of this building, and I know that they would have thought about that. Adding, what, what that would mean if there were an addition in the future, and they had, I'm positive that they thought it through ahead of time and designed the building in a way so that it were possible and it would look good, so.
But we have no access to any, what that would be.
I have access. I probably have access to their, so yeah.
Just to, if we're dreaming and we're thinking and we're
Yeah,
projecting, and then an idea of what it would cost, and so we can say, nope, that's not happening now, but this is what it would look
Yeah.
like. The other thing was about the roof, and the outside access, and access to the roof. Is that something that would be at all feasible? What would safety concerns be?
safety concerns would definitely come into play. We could look into ways of making that work, but I'm not sure how the library would feel about having people up on the roof. I know that was a discussion previously, right? Am I correct?
There's no fencing there.
Yeah, so we'd have to,
There's no what?
Fencing?
Fencing, that's what, that picture I was noticing.
yeah, we'd have to add something in order to provide safety.
Access to it as well, it's not ADA accessible. And the only access right now is through the penthouse, which you would have access to all of the HVAC, well, everything Matt has to have access to up there as well.
Okay, thanks, because I haven't been up there, so
So it would really be,
We can do it towards the end.
it would be staff only,
Yes, definitely.
and even if it's only staff, there's some ADA
It's still not ADA
Right.
accessible.
yeah, that would be.
issues.
Was talking about the roof, like in conjunction with the outdoor space usage, that was how that came up? Okay.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
And it came up primarily from staff.
Are the bees still up there?
No,
The bees are not.
No, but I think I've heard staff, we've talked about this for years, staff do want access to an outdoor space that doesn't include the public.
Like a staff,
And they want-
yeah.
and that is no slight to the experience here, it's just when you want to break from work, you want to break from work, and
Yeah.
and so going to an outdoor space.
Yeah. Yes.
So roof is where it looks great in the pictures, right? Why would you not want to be out in that space?
Yeah, well, that's nice.
It's just not safe or accessible.
the accessible is that, yeah, that's the challenge.
Yeah, even if we could add a fence
Because you could add fencing.
around some of it, but installing, we've been looked into that, installing a fence into the green roof is challenging because it's not a typical structure to attach.
So parapet.
And one of the things that comes up, it sounds like a great idea, and it is a great idea for 3 months of the year.
Right.
So is there a benefit to the effort and the cost of designing a space that sits dormant when it's snowy or rainy or cold or not
Or
perfect weather or 100 degrees? I and smoky, right? So those are some of the things that we bounce around, people like, but it would still be great. Yes, it would, but also it would be a tremendous effort for what ultimately may be limited use.
Yeah.
Especially considering that it's literally up against a park.
Yeah, that's it.
And the park, I mean, it's open to the public, but it's not, you could go to a bench or somewhere and not be interacting with people, like the same way the public does. Is there any sort of atrium options for staff?
I'm also wondering where an outdoor space would be viable in children's services.
There is that space directly outside of children's services, right, where there's some tables and chairs right now?
You mean like near the front entrance?
Yeah. So extending that and making it accessible through children's services is,
And then blocked off so
Yeah.
kids are running around and
It is shaded, so it'd be difficult for plants.
right. But that's a possibility.
And then behind it as well, like, I don't know how to describe it, like, there's the plaza, but then there's a garden area with trees and plants in it.
Behind the program room, that one.
But off the story time room.
Yeah.
So there's a limited space there, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out.
I feel like, I'm struggling to.
it's to the north, right?
Yeah, northeast corner.
What's really good about the lobby, you know, I never really, we all wrote safe and an inviting space, and then I started thinking about that. I was like, wow, you're right. Like this space could be utilized in such a more powerful way, and it's like such a statement, you know. And there's all this space there. It seems like a no-brainer on that one. So with the parking, I was thinking, so is this study also about process, like not just about the design, like a suggestion, hey, we should charge more for parking or have limits, or will there be like that sort of information as well, or suggestion?
That was not part of,
No,
that's
that's okay.
no.
I'm just curious. Because there's nothing to do about the parking, right? You can't take
Right.
down, you can't, there's nothing to do.
Yeah, the only thing that I could think of was Ellsworth's suggestion of requesting like a few hours of free parking with the library card and surrounding blocks, which I thought was brilliant.
I think that this data gives us support if we do go to the village or something like that.
I'm gonna throw out a monkey wrench with a question.
What question?
And this builds on
Monkey wrench.
a monkey wrench, some very recent learning that I've been doing. That Illinois passed a law creating some new incentives including for government or like public agencies, for geothermal. And which is extraordinarily efficient. And I know that like the Parks District and high school have taken advantage of that, and they're doing it at Dole Library, not because of us, but because the Park District is doing it. The Park District doesn't have a building at Scoville Park, but that is their land, and it would probably have to incorporate that area, but is that at all something that you thought about, or that we could think about, or even just look into what we would have to look into? If that makes sense.
Geothermal is pretty expensive. It's a very expensive endeavor.
Well, that has shifted in starting June 1st there were
Because of the
policy changes.
incentives.
Yeah.
I have to check into that. I had not heard about that and what that would mean in terms of, cost saving. But it is, we would have to find some land very near the library to drill down, and that would mean the park. That's the only place where that can happen. So we can't drill underneath the library. Is that a possibility even?
We've had some conversations about that, right?
Yeah, the hard part is the land. And we don't have a great field to sink any of that equipment or lines here that we own that would have to involve the park. And I don't know what that conversation looks like. I think in the interest of geothermal, the much better location is Maze, and making Maze a candidate for geothermal makes a whole lot of sense. I don't know that this building can support that without a drastic change of renovation. So I've thought about all different kinds of really fun ideas, and we're kind of tied to the land we have and making use of what we have available. So I know the incentives might be out there, and it's a fun idea. I'd love to do it here. And I'm not an engineer, I just don't know how we would.
An IGA would do.
We could talk to.
Sure.
I'm imagining an IGA and, you know, some sort of like, and split the cost savings. I mean, it is expensive, but that shifted drastically after June 1st. And it would save money over time.
And if this is something that the park is doing for their buildings, it's in alignment with what they're doing for themselves.
And with the village and with the community.
Yeah, we could definitely look into that if you want to talk to the park district to see if that's even a possibility to use that land.
I don't think that they would have, I would be interested in hearing about their cost experience. Obviously, every facility is different, whether it's a new build or not, but we could set up an appointment and see what's going on.
I had one last question around sightlines. This is not the first time that we've heard about sightlines, and it actually kind of dovetails with the conversation that we had with some other governing bodies around having accessibility, but also presenting barriers. We're one of the few buildings that does not have a barrier should ICE or other law enforcement come to the building. There's nothing between sort of the front doors and the rest of the building. So was that discussed at all when also discussing like sight lines, like how the idea of opening and welcoming maybe has pivoted a little bit, and maybe our priorities are a little bit altered in how we would set up the space, not just because of the sight lines, but also because just the environment and what our goals are as far as accessibility may have changed.
That I don't feel like that really came up much in discussions or in any of the comments. Sightlines definitely came up from staff. They do want to be able to see people coming into the building. They want to be able to see people going out of the building. They want to be able to see the spaces, right? They don't want any dark corners where people can go and hide. And, you know, one of the things that came up a lot was the service points, and staff feel a little bit vulnerable in those service points. Because people can come up behind them, right? So that's their kind of main concern with those. But that with the lobby didn't really come up. It really came up with seeing who's coming and seeing who's going.
Yeah, I think you kind of answered my question with that, is like being able to see what's coming in and out of the door instead of you don't know who's here until they're here. Okay.
So when the cost estimate part happens, will it, how does that look? Is it just like, this is the one price, or is it gonna be like the biggest bang for your buck to do these things, you know? And then, is it itemized in some way? Or?
It will be itemized in some way, and we probably will have some kind of a breakdown where, you know, if you add this, it'll be this much more. If you do this, it'll be, you know, this much less, or whatever you know, whatever it is. But it's not just gonna be like one number. Yeah.
One of the topics that's come up when we were talking about this is what the idea box was before, and that it was a place to buy food, and that sort of thing. And one of the things that feels really important to me with the lobby is that it reinforces
from the 60s into the 90s, and he.
What?
Somebody's talking to us.
I wonder if someone, a viewer maybe had their.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay,
Seems like it's resolved.
Sorry, it's fixed.
Okay. It feels really important to me that the lobby is welcoming in terms of a free third space. And that there's nothing that kind of has dollar signs when people come in. Like I'm even personally bothered that we have signs down there with the shirts and all of that with dollar signs on it. Like I don't mind that there's here's how you can buy shirts. But it feels really important to me that we have a space that people come in and they don't have any sense that they need to spend any money, that that it's all, at all commercial. Like there was one thing that came up that I read through that was talking about business
center.
something, and I didn't know if that related to that or kind of how.
It didn't really. The business center idea really, it's just, it was a discussion about creating a space within the lobby where people can go and, make copies or.
Okay.
That's what it was about. But I think everybody is aligned with that same thought. They want to feel, they want the library to be inviting and comfortable. They don't want those things either where they feel pressure to spend money.
Yeah, that feels like really critical.
My last question, with the makerspace, we saw at the ALA, like that a lot of libraries are putting in community kitchens. Was that like something people asked for in the makerspace at all?
Specifically kitchen, I don't believe came up.
Okay.
And I don't know that it was a lot of libraries.
It was like all the pictures of the new modern libraries. And
all of them? Really?
It seemed like they all had.
I am so interested.
So I was just wondering if the kitchen was gonna come up or not.
Because we went to one of those for, is that Hinsdale?
Arlington
Arlington Heights.
has a kitchen that they had a foundation that.
Yeah, that foundation.
Kitchen in their old,
a
but you were the space planning one, yeah.
But the commercial kitchen is it's in a separate building, it's in
Right,
the
to the
original
old library.
first library, so it's separate from the main.
Well, and that's, I guess, what my question, because that session was and obviously we did it already, so we're good, but I think there are learnings maybe that we can take from this to influence our other spaces, I imagine, because if we can't do it here, maybe we can do it at Maze or at Dole.
Especially since so much of it is around space, it might be just presenting more opportunities and not everything has to happen at Maine.
Yeah.
I mean, the community kitchen, and the fact that they could create meals for the community in the community kitchen was really, it was quite encouraging, and, it would be lovely to have. I just don't know, we're already short on space, so. Put it on the well, we could have a rooftop garden groups.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Staff, any questions while we're all hanging out?
And do you have anything else that you want to follow up from us after our surveys?
Not sure. I think, we have so much information.
You don't want any more?
I think we have a good amount to work with, so we have a lot of work ahead of us. But it's, this part was really fun. The next part will be very exciting as well. And then we'll be back to show you I think the next time we meet with you is towards the end when we have all the recommendations and the concepts done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. That concludes unfinished business. We do not have any new business for this evening. So moving on to reports and updates, trustee comments and calendar.
Nico would like me to say something. I just need to find it. Oh my God, I'm having problems with that.
Was it the facilities email?
No, this is about, thanking some people who helped with the book fair, and here it is. The Friends of the Library is very appreciative of the students feeding students. Nolan Kruger, Joaquin Campuzano, Laney Brummel, Seth Osta, and Nathaniel Hernandez, and then somebody from the football team, JJ Medetwa. They helped with, so last year, the Friends, they didn't have any like youthful people to carry all these books out, and it was a problem, and so they helped out, and I think we helped get them involved, so that's good. And I think everyone got the email about how well the Friends book fair went, right? The 61,000.
And, we don't share that yet.
Oh.
We're not supposed to share that yet? Whoops. Later.
Well, it's super encouraging to see, sorry, like, new faces helping with Friends, and especially like younger folks, like high school, to come and help, and hopefully they got to spend some time at the book fair and find something useful, but it's nice to see that they found some place to, they're already doing a lot, but like they found another place to be helpful and useful. Any other comments? We have the next governance committee meeting will be on August 17th. I see that was moved to 6 p.m. Is that a permanent move?
Yes.
Okay. And I see the finance committee is meeting August 20th.
Time still TBD.
Okay.
It was we're all over the place, and we're still trying to figure out the exact time, so coming soon.
Next regular library board meeting will be August 26th. Then we have the next governance committee meeting September 1st, and then the next regular board meeting on the 23rd. Don't think we have any other.
Didn't we have, I thought you sent out something about an advocacy committee.
I didn't realize I was sending emails to people. I was trying to like play with my calendar and put in like, to sort of move it around. So I'm sorry about that. That would cause confusion.
Okay.
But yes, we would like to have an advocacy committee meeting soon.
Okay.
But it appears that August is really challenging, like in particular, so we might just wait till September.
Okay.
Yeah.
The goal being talking more about belonging without othering and how that manifests for us here, or something other than that.
I think if there are particular agenda items that anyone would like to suggest, please send them to me. I think one thing that we had that had actually floated up in a finance committee meeting is advocating on behalf of libraries who are affected by the trying to find some diplomatic language, the events, paying out property taxes at Cook County. So that is one proposed agenda item. Also, maybe on that agenda item could be planning for or discussing next steps for the learning goals of belonging without othering, including plans for staff attendance and board attendance at the Belonging Without Othering conference, and how we might want to make sure that we bring learning back. So those are two potential agenda items.
And you said that's most likely going to be September, not.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Based on the discussion we had about, it was like a 20-minute discussion about availability at the finance committee meeting. I think I'll just start fresh with September.
I also not to put you on the spot, but I wanted to ask about the grant that we received for library safety and the replacement of the
Do you have specific questions about that?
Just how did it come about? Was this something that we knew we were gonna try to do, or that we happened into good luck of finding, or?
There were, Rob can speak in more detail about this, but my understanding is there was an interest in doing some security upgrades anyway, and there was grant funding available, so Rob and his team worked on the application, and we were awarded, I think that's the total project cost. Right?
Yes, yeah.
It's total.
We knew we were going to do the work, and then when the Secretary of State announced that they were releasing funds for security upgrades and grants, I think we would talk about it at the Finance Committee meeting. And then we said, well, what shovel-ready projects do we have? And we had one, the security cameras, upgrades, and tying in May's system into our main system. So, yeah, and Rob and Rob Simmons and Aaron Alonso were going to lead that project.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty big project, and then for the final sentence to be anticipated to be finished in 2026, that was really encouraging, but.
Yeah, it helps offset our capital. It was already in the capital budget to do the capital projects budget, and so this will help the funding will come.
But we like that.
Yeah, save it too.
Well done.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And the new feature of that is going to be more accessibility to the safety data at Maze from here.
That's my understanding, is that I think our team here, it's a small team and they can't be everywhere at once, but if they can be here and they have, lack of better word, eyes on more locations, and it's tied into the system, and they can, better control the system. And, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, any other questions, comments? All right. Having concluded our agenda, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.